Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to do a practice just focusing more on hips and some legs. So we're just going to release some tension through the hips and the legs. And as we sometimes hear people say that we carry a lot of negative emotions in our hips, and that's not to say the emotions are actually negative. It's just when we get into maybe tense or uncomfortable situations and our body goes into that fight or flight mode, which is our natural instinct. We tend to then just tense up our lower back, which shrinks our psoas muscles, and that can give us back pain. And this is why we say we carry negative emotions. So today it's all about loosening up those psoas muscles, those hip flexors, and just getting some movement through the inside, hips, outside, and just a little bit of stretch through the legs. So please join me. We're going to be starting off lying on our backs. In my diffuser today, a beautiful ocean breeze scent of 3 drops of ylang and 4 of lemon, if you want to give that a try. So let's get started. I'm having a cushion or a couple of cushions close by, just in case you might need them through your practice, or a block. If you have a block or a couple of blocks, have them close by. So we're going to start off in reclined Baddha butterfly. So soles of the feet are together, and we're going to bring ourselves to lie down on our back, and just starting off by relaxing the legs out to the sides, letting the knees drop. If you feel any uncomfortableness, if you feel uncomfortable under your back, you can always place a cushion just underneath your back to give you some support. Otherwise, having the chin slightly tucked in towards your chest, so you feel nice and comfortable through your neck. And let's place our hands, palms down, onto our belly. So just bringing the connection to our body as we spend the next few minutes or so just bringing ourselves to our practice. And so slowing down the breath, letting go of the day, if we are doing this in the evening, letting go and just relaxing. So take a few moments just to settle in. And just starting to soften and relax the body. Just feel that tension easing away, slipping away as you gently relax. Start slowing down the breath and just let the body grow a little bit heavier as we relax. Noticing any bits of tension. Just try and soften and release with your exhale. Let's just take a quick scan through our bodies, just connecting as we start with our face. Just noticing if we're holding on to any tension. Just start with relaxing the forehead, just letting any tension go between the eyebrows. Just nice, happy forehead, happy eyebrows. Relaxing the jaw, having that gentle space between your teeth just relaxes the face. Relaxing through the neck as we let the shoulders gently relax down. And then the trunk of our body, just letting it relax. So letting the ribs relax, the belly relax down as the pelvis relaxes. Any tension in the glutes, just letting them go, relax. Nice relaxed legs, just let those knees drop out to the sides. Feet are relaxed. And let's not forget the arms, gently relaxed with the hands just resting on our belly as we totally relax those hands. And connect to our breath. So if you haven't yet, start taking longer breaths. Relaxing exhales. So you want to start drawing the breath more from your belly, all the way up to your chest, and then letting go from your chest down towards your belly. So let's take a few rounds. Nice full yogic breaths, diaphragmatic breathing. As we slow the breath, calming the mind, calming the body, slowing it down. Just feel that connection as you inhale, rising up from your belly towards your chest. And then as you relax on that exhale, letting go from your chest down towards your belly. Really drawing that mind into your body as you let go of thoughts. And let's do 3 more rounds of breath. Nice big breath in. And a nice long exhale out. Still staying relaxed as we take that nice big breath in again. And a nice exhale, leaving the tension. Final breath. Yogic breath, letting it go. And then come back to your normal breath. Start taking the hands to the side and bring the knees up to center, feet firmly on the floor, on the mat. Just take the hands out to the sides, trunk of the body is still staying in center, and we'll just drop our knees to one of our sides, just a little side stretch, a little spinal twist, I should say. Still keeping the eyes gently closed. Bring the knees up to center and then drop them to the other side. Relax into that twist. And then bring the knees back up to center, up towards our chest. A little rock from side to side. Let's start bringing some movement into the body, massaging that back. And then we're going to drop onto one of our sides as we come up to a comfortable seated position, keeping eyes soft or gently closed. Let's bring those hands together in front of our heart. Take a little bow towards our head, towards our hands. Just connecting back to our heart as we get ready for our practice. Setting an intention. You want to set an intention for your practice. And then giving our palms a nice brisk rub, bringing energy and warmth as we briskly rub those palms. Feel that energy rising. That heat starts building up. And then place those hands over our eyes as we blink back into the light. And taking our hands away, we begin with our greeting of love and peace. Namaste. And thank you for taking this time for yourselves. And we'll continue just with a few warm-ups before we begin. So nice big circles with our chin, taking it to the right, circling it all the way up, and then down the other side. Relax those shoulders. A nice big circle, letting go of tension. Nice little stretch, 2 more rounds, any little kinks in the neck. Just taking it nice and easy. As we take our final circle, ending with the chin towards the chest, and then start taking it in the opposite direction in your own time. from the left shoulder all the way round to the right. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Keep those sit bones firmly rooted down. Keep the top of the spine lengthening up as we take our last circle round. And we'll end the circle with our chin back towards the chest and a nice stretch through the back of the neck. And then a nice lift as we take the chin up towards the ceiling. Start lifting up through the top of the chest. Draw those shoulders back. Opening up that heart space. And then come back to center. Let's take a nice big stretch up, reaching up, fingertips touch as we gaze out. And then as we exhale, take the hands to either side, lengthening through those arms. Chin comes down again. If you want to keep moving with the neck, completely up to you. You can hold the head in center, reaching up. Exhaling, lengthening down. Final time, nice big stretch through the sides of the body, through those arms, lengthening down, reaching as far out to either side. Next stretch up. And then going to take a twist as we bring left hand forward, right one behind us. A nice twist, and then come back to center and to the other side, lengthening, just getting some movement in that spine, especially if you've been sitting around all day, just starting to create some healthy movement through that spine, reaching up, exhaling. Final round as we reach and stretch up, and then a nice exhale and a twist, reaching one last time, getting those toxins moving out of our system. And this time reach up and a side stretch, right hand over, left one pulls you into that side stretch. Come back to center and reaching up and over as you exhale. Keep those sit bones rooted down as you take that movement through the top of your body. If you want to lengthen that stretch, just bend that supporting arm as it lands on the mat. But keep rooting that opposite sit bone down. And let's end this round as we reach over to the left. And then come back to center. Good. We'll just get a bit of movement through the legs. So we want to really get those hips moving. So just taking hands supporting us and just moving that knee backwards and forwards. So we're creating movement in the knee and the hip as well. Starting to lubricate our joints, getting any of those little air bubbles trapped, just moving them out. And then leg comes down as we switch sides. Staying up nice and tall, rooting through that navel, lifting up through that pelvic floor, so we're staying nicely supported. And then bring that leg back down. Let's come up onto our knees, placing our feet, tucking our toes under. We're going to give our toes a little stretch. And then whilst we're here, just to distract from that little stretch, which may be a little bit intense, but really good for the feet. Let's just do a few shoulder rolls. And then the opposite direction. If it does get too much, having your toes flexed under, do just place them back down. And then relax. We'll place the toes down anyhow. Then see if we can lift up the knees. Give the ankles a stretch. Again, just have the hands wherever you need the support. And lift your knees as much or as little. And if you're getting used to it, it may take a bit of time, a few ups and downs, before you can get that stretch through the ankles. We're getting movement in there. We tend to forget about our feet a lot, our ankles, and then come back down. Bring those knees to the mat as we bring our hands, wrists underneath shoulders, knees hip distance apart. And let's go for a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhaling, drawing that shoulders back as we open up the chest, tailbone goes up. And then as we exhale, rounding up, tucking the tailbone under, chin to the chest, crown of the head, reaching down towards the floor. Inhaling again, opening up the chest, draw the shoulders back. Exhaling, rounding up that spine, tucking the tailbone under. Last time, nice big breath. And a nice big exhale. And then come back to center. We're going to bring our right foot through between the hands. Left knee, we're going to shift it slightly back so we have a nice stretch through that psoas muscle, through that hip flexor. Feels uncomfortable on the knee, you can either tuck the toe under and take the pressure off, or root down through the front of your foot, and that also takes the pressure, or just put a cushion underneath. You're going to get a bit of movement here. So movement's more about the hip flexor, not so much about the front legs. So just moving backwards and forwards. Get some movement there. Warming up the hips. And then we're going to hold it forward again. Take a few breaths. And then we'll come into a half split. So shift the weight back. Start straightening that front leg. Take your time. Move your hands back if you need to. Also flex the foot if you need to. Just make yourselves comfortable. Stretch through those hamstrings. Try not to collapse into the opposite leg. And then release, bringing ourselves forward as we bring the right leg down, bring the left one through, again adjust that right leg down, see if you need that assistance with your feet, and just settle into that stretch, let go of any tension in those glutes, in that buttocks. And then let's start moving backwards and forwards, movements about the back leg, about that hip flexor. Good. Let's come into that half split, but let's hold here before we come into the half split. Let's just take a moment, stretching out that leg again. And then shift into that half split. So start straightening that left leg. Again, find your place. It may even be up here. Oops. Or have some support. You may be flexing. So just find your place and take your time stretching through that leg. And then we're going to come into a forward bend. So shift the weight forward with your hands and step through into a forward bend. Keep the knee slightly soft. And we're going to hang here for a moment. Just let the crown of the head just shine down towards the floor. Notice the weight on your feet if you're sinking back or if you're sinking forward. Just try and get it quite even through your feet. We're going to come into a halfway lift. So bring the hands to the shins, lengthening the spine as we look forward and lengthening the tailbone back. And then a right angle pose brings the arms either side of your ears, palms facing each other, really flattening out that back, reaching. Keep the knees slightly soft just so you can get that tilt in the pelvis. Interlace fingers behind our back. Nice stretch back with the arms as we open the chest, squeeze those shoulder blades together, and then start coming up using those arms to bring you up. And let's give ourselves a little shape. We're going to come into a couple of rounds, starting off with half sun salutation. So in Tandasana, as we root down through the feet, energizing outwards so we're not collapsing in. Nice and tall, opening up through the front of the body. Chest is open, palms are facing out, so the chest opens up. And we're going to take a nice circle, so shoulders start going back, circling with the arms as we take a gentle back bend, reaching back, and then into a forward bend as we lengthen forward, fingertips on the mat, right leg goes back, knees on the mat, chest up, chin up. Again, check bent knees over ankle or just slightly ahead, not passing your toes. And then we go back into down dog, a nice big step back, holding it here, root down through the hands, root down through the feet. If you're feeling a bit tight through the hamstrings, just lifting the toes up off the mat releases the back of the legs. And place the toes down. We're going to come into a three-legged dog. So nice hip flexor stretch again. Right heel goes up towards the ceiling. Keeping the shoulders square. Start flipping the bottom half of your body as the heel flips back towards your sit bones. Inner thighs are opening up away from each other. And then bring that right foot, square the hips. And then bring that right foot through between the hands. Left knee comes down. Toes go down. And then we bring in the left hand to the side of the right foot. A little twist as we turn towards that right knee. And lengthen that arm up towards the ceiling. Root down through the left hand. Nice reach up with the fingers to the ceiling and then coming to center as we step through into a forward bend. Let's start coming up, roll those shoulders, hands come all the way back to the heart. And let's go with another round this time, finishing off the round on the left side. So reaching back, lift through that spine, reaching and then coming all the way forward. Take a nice step back with the left foot this time, knees on the mat. Again, chest up, chin up. If you need to adjust that foot, lengthening through those fingers. We're looking directly ahead and then stepping into down dog, flattening those palms, those fingers on the mat. Releasing those back of the legs. Come into that three-legged dog. Left heel goes up. And then flips back towards our sit bones, inner thighs opening up away from each other. And then squaring the hips again as we start bringing that left foot through between our hands, a couple of steps if you need to. Right knee comes down, and this time the right hand just settles to the side of the left foot. And we take the left hand up towards the ceiling again, reaching up, rooting down just to come into that twist. Gazing down as we bring the arm down and step through into a forward bend. And then start coming up. Roll the shoulders, engage that core to bring you all the way up. Hands come back to the heart. And we're going to get ready to do another round. And this time, full sun salutation. So adding that 8-point pose, Ashtanga Pranam, reaching back. Deeper back bends if your back allows you. Draw the navel in to support you as you come through into a forward bend. Right leg is back. Knees on or off the mat. If you want to start making the practice stronger, you can keep that knee off the mat. Chest up, chin up, lengthening through the spine. Into down dog. 8-point pose. Shift the weight forward, bring the knees down, chest and chin, touches down, and then lengthen the legs as we lift the chest into a baby cobra. And then tuck the toes under, root back up into down dog. And then the right leg steps through between the hands, left knee down, or if you want to make it more dynamic, up. And again, lifting up the chest, lifting up the chin into a forward bend. Start coming up as we roll the shoulders, hands come all the way back to our heart. And let's end with the left side, finishing the round, reaching up into a forward bend. Left leg goes back, knees on or off the mat. Into a crescent moon this time, bringing the arms up into a gentle back bend. Gazing up towards those fingers, palms facing each other. Relax the shoulders. And then come into down dog again. Flatten those palms, those fingers. As we step down dog, shift the weight forward into 8-point pose. Chest and chin comes down. Slide the legs back as we bring the chest up into a baby or full cobra. Tuck the toes under. Draw through that navel as we go back to down dog. Step through with that left foot. Nice big step. Right knee on or off the mat. Coming into that crescent moon. Gazing up at your fingers. A gentle back bend. Relax those shoulders. And then come into a forward bend. Good, root down through those feet, circling those arms as we come all the way back, hands to the heart. Good, and hopefully we're feeling nice and warm and ready to continue into palm tree as we interlace those fingers, take those palms up towards the ceiling, root down through your feet, keeping a nice space between the legs, about hip distance. And then as we root down, let's stretch over to one side. On that exhale, again, try not to collapse into that hip. Keep it nice and long as we root down through the feet, energizing those legs. And then come back to center. And then on the exhale to the other side. Again, rooting down through the feet. Try not to collapse into that hip. Come back to center. And then release those arms as we get ready to come into a high lunge. So stepping back with your right foot. And you have your left one in front. So right foot goes back. Bend that left foot goes back, right leg is in front, my apologies. You're going to have a nice bend through that front right leg, and the movement's going to come from the back leg. So don't worry too much about moving this front knee, just root down through that foot to keep you nice and stable. Take those arms up either side of the ears, a nice big breath in here. And then on the exhale, lower that back foot down, let that back knee down, and then inhaling, straightening it, raising it up again. Exhaling again, lowering that knee, trying to hover it above the mat, and then inhaling up again. And this time when we exhale, we're just going to hold it here just for a couple of breaths, really get that strength, that stretch. Rooting down through that front foot and then release. Good, straighten the front leg, adjust the back leg, bring that heel down, still keeping the hips square, so we've got more like warrior legs, warrior one. And we're going to get ready to come into warrior one. So just reaching the arms down, bend that front knee and just reaching back. And from here, let's see if we can come into a little balance. So bring the hands down and we're going to come into a standing pigeon. So shifting the weight onto your right foot, still keeping that right knee bent. And all we're going to do is shift the weight here, keep going with your balance, engage that core. So start engaging the core. And all we want to do is cross the ankle over that right knee. Let's see if you can do that. Bring the hands together in front of your heart. I am now going to be opposite to you. I'm on the same. And we're just holding here. Keep that weight going back. If that feels okay for your balance, you can push your hands together and see if you can challenge the balance a bit more. Keep that core engaged. Draw that navel back up through the pelvis or the pelvic floor. You can always come here if that feels comfortable. Don't worry if you're getting used to balance. Just come in and out of it. And if you do find up here is too much, you can just cross here and that's enough too. So just play around with your balance. Then let's come back up and let go. Bring that leg down, shake out your standing leg. We'll get ready to switch sides. So this time the left foot is facing me and the right one's behind, or however you went before, just going the opposite way. Again, root down through that left knee, high lunge through that back leg, rooting down through the ball of your foot. Take those arms up, getting ready for that stretch through that back leg. On the exhale, lower that knee down, just hovering it. And then inhaling, taking it back again. Exhaling, lowering it down. Keep rooting through that front leg. Inhaling up. And our final exhale, just hover it there just for a few breaths if you can. Keep rooting down through that front leg. And then release. Lowering that heel down into warrior one. As the hips are square, we bend that front knee. And just reach up, really lengthen through that spine, relax the shoulders, and reach back. And release the tension. And then let's get ready to come into that standing pigeon by straightening the front leg. Start engaging that core. Nice long spine keeps you lifted. And staying lifted through that supporting leg with just a slight bend in your knee as you bring the left foot to cross, sorry, the right foot to cross that left leg. Take your time. Like I said before, you could be here instead if you're just getting used to balance, or balance is not for you today. You could have a chair to help you, just to start getting the bottom of your body used to this pose. And the chair's there, or the wall, just for some assistance. If you find you're okay with your balance, have the weight going back so your knee's not collapsing forward. Staying nice and strong, nice and supported. Hands are here. And then if you do want to start coming down with control, keep pushing those palms into each other and keep that weight going back so you're not falling to the front of your toes, the front of your foot, your toes. Take a few breaths. Some days balance works and other days it doesn't. So just take your time. No judgment. You are where you are today. Coming out with control, letting go. Great. Shake out that standing leg. And let's come into goddess pose. So again, just moving on with the hips. So with goddess pose, we're just going to start turning the toes out and have a nice straight spine again. Now the toes, you turn them as much or as little as is comfortable for your knees and your ankles. And we don't want to be collapsing into the inside of the legs. We want to keep inside of the feet, and we want to have quite a bit of space so the ankles are wider than your hips. And you don't want to be compromising the pose by turning the feet out too much and you're collapsing in. So if that means you need to keep your toes slightly less pointed, that's perfectly fine. We start bending the knees, drawing the tailbone into neutral, so it's rooting down, engaging the inside of the leg. So we're kind of letting the knees push out to the side. So if you were to glance to either side, your knees should be heading to about the second or third toe. So not dropping here. Should be able to see your big toes if you glance down, because the knees are going further out. And have that pelvis nice and straight, so it's not too tucked under or falling back. So we're going to keep those hips nice and centered. And then cactus arms as we bend those elbows in line with our shoulders, and then our wrists directly above, opening up those fingers. Opening up the chest, just draw those shoulders back. Keeps the spine straight. Draw the inside, pull the inside of your legs out. So we're completely nice and open through the front of our body. Keep those glutes relaxed as they'll want to tense up. And then a little side stretch. So leaning, right hand on the leg and take the left hand over. Keep engaging the inside of the legs. And then come back to center. And let's switch sides. Nice big stretch. Keep opening up. Rooting down through the outside edges of the feet. Good. Come back to center and release. Good. Shift those heels. Toes come straight. So we now parallel feet. Nice straight feet. And we're just going to come down into a forward bend and release any tension in the inside, those inner thighs. So hands on the floor, on the cushion, or bend the knees slightly to get your hands on the floor and just move from side to side, releasing any tension on the inside of those legs. And then we'll come back to center. And we're going to get ready for Malasana yogic squat. So we're just going to do a few little squats before we come into the full version. So start coming back up, hands onto the hips, start coming up. Keep bringing the feet slightly in, but still wider than your hips. And the toes can be pointing out as well, just a bit, just to give you the space. We're going to come into a squat, just a halfway squat, so kind of like you're coming into chair almost. So we're going to lower the hips to the same height as the knees, and we're drawing the weight back. So we're just trying to lengthen through the back of the legs again, make some space through those Achilles tendons. You can have the hands supporting you there or the hands on your legs. It's a really good pose if you've been sitting all day, just to get those overworked muscles from being seated, just getting some movement through them. And then release, straighten the legs again, walking them out from side to side. And then let's see if we can come into the full yogic squat. So again, the more you have your feet up, the more it helps you release your heels. So again, start bending. You may be able to bring your feet slightly closer to you. And then see if you can sit back down into that yogic squat. If this is completely too much for your knees, you can do the same thing sitting down, or take a moment coming in and out of it as you feel comfortable. Just relax here. Your feet are firmly on the floor, so the heels are on the floor. If you put a cushion underneath your heels, you can bring your hands to your heart and just use the inside of your arms to open up a little bit more and straighten up the spine. Root up through your pelvic floor. Keep that spine nice and long. A few breaths here. Keep rooting down through the feet. And then release. We're going to come into down dog. So let's straighten the legs first. And then we're going to shift ourselves however we need to come into down dog. Step back into down dog. And just hold it here. If you prefer, we can go for a little flow. You can come with me and we meet back in down dog. So shift the weight forward, bring the knees down, bend the elbows coming back towards your chest. Chest and chin scoop straight through into a baby or full cobra. Keep those glutes relaxed. And then tuck the toes under and we go back to down dog. Nice big stretch. Root down through those fingers, through those feet. And then we're going to come down onto our knees, and we're going to get ready again just to come into a little hip opener. So bringing that right foot through between the hands. We're going to take some movement. So again, moving backwards and forwards. This time we want to loosen up this front leg before we move into a hip opener. And then let's come back to center. Just move your right foot so it's a little bit further out than your hip, so you're giving yourself some room on the inside of that leg. And again, you can turn your toe so that your foot's at an angle to the side, just to give you some more room. You have a cushion nearby as we're going to try and see if we can come down. So either bringing that right hand inside, either staying here on both hands. Again, if it's too much for that knee, just tuck the toe under and take the pressure off, or put a cushion underneath. Make sure that right knee is not dropping out. You're keeping it nice and close to the outside of that underarm. If you feel loose enough, you feel you can come down onto that left forearm, and you might even be able to come all the way down onto both forearms, or use some height here just to help you, and you can maybe do it that way too. Again, just check the knees not falling out, and just hold it there for a few breaths. Just release any tension in the hip. Keep rooting down through the foot so it's not falling out to the side. Keep drawing it back in towards you, that knee. No tension in the shoulders. And then release. Come back up onto your hands. We're going to tuck that back toe under and step back into down dog, stretching that leg out. Nice big stretch. And then we'll come in again with the right leg, and this time into pigeon. So bring that right knee towards the right wrist and the ankle towards the left. Straighten that back leg. So you may be here, staying nice and square. Open up the chest. If pigeon feels too uncomfortable, you can come into slightly more adjusted version, softer version where you can sit on the outside of the leg and have the back one bent and just hold yourselves here. But if you can, stick with it here. Again, use a cushion to place underneath that right hip just to keep you supported so you don't feel like you're putting too much pressure on your hips, and you want to try and keep them nice and square. Relax those shoulders. Lengthen through that back leg. We'll start off in a high pigeon, so maybe come onto the tips of your fingers just to open up the chest a little bit more, into maybe a gentle back bend or just a slight back bend. So the front of the body is nice and open. If you want to, and you can shift into more of a king pigeon and bring that left foot towards you and see if you can grab it with your right hand. Then keep the shoulders square. This is just a more advanced version. Or you can have the leg, bringing the leg towards you and reaching back if you can't quite reach it. Or you've got a strap, you can use your strap. Just releasing, stretching through the chest, and then let's release and relax here into pigeon again. And then if you can, see if you can come down onto your forearms or come into the full version, come all the way down. Just pick your options. And just take a few moments. We'll only be here for a short while today. In my yin classes, we tend to hold the poses between 2 and 5 minutes, but today we're just going through a normal hatha class. Just hold it for a few breaths to get comfortable into the pose. And then we'll move on. So coming back up onto our hands, we're going to come into a three-legged dog again. So tuck that back toe under, start shifting. As you bring that right heel through, you could stay on that left knee if you wanted, and then flip that heel back, open up those inner thighs, keep the shoulders square, a nice counter pose, and then come back to down dog as we get ready here, one stretch and down dog, to do the left side. So bring that left foot through between the hands, bring the right knee down. We'll start off in that hip opener. So let's move backwards and forwards, loosen up that hip. Movement through the front leg we're focusing on. And then as we shift forward, take that left foot slightly out just to make that space through the inside of your leg. And then turning the toes slightly out, still keeping the knee coming in so you're not compromising that ankle. Left hand's on the inside. And we're either here, again you can use your cushion or block. You may be able to come down on one side and then finally bring down the other side, making sure the knee does not fall out as you move through the different poses. Keep drawing that knee in towards you and keep rooting down through the foot so it's not opening up, falling out to the side and collapsing into that ankle. Too much for your knee, just tuck the toe under. Just hold for a few breaths. Just release the tension. Make sure we're not holding tension in the face or in the shoulders. And then let's come out of the pose. So back up onto our hands. Bring that leg in as we shift the palm out. Let's come into down dog. Just come in for a nice stretch. Stretch out that tension. And then come into pigeon again. So come down onto your knees and start bringing the left knee through, the ankle through to the right wrist and the left knee through to the left wrist. Again, square off those hips. Coming into a high pigeon. So take a moment just to let your hips and decide if you need to have that support underneath the left side or if you're coming into the slightly easier version. Or not easier version, it's just for tighter hips, just come into this pose instead. Hips stay nice and square so we're not collapsing one side or the other. On those fingertips, let's make that space through the front of our body. Let the shoulders, blades go down the back. And if you want to, you can come into that more of a back bend. So start bringing that left foot towards you. Right foot towards you, I should say, and then take, I can't remember my left from my right, and then take the hand around, left hand to grab that right foot. shoulders are square. Always keep the foot back into the hand if you want to make it a little bit more intense, making sure the shoulders, that shoulder, you're rotating it forward again so it's not falling out, falling back. And then gently let go. Come and relax. And then if you want to, come down onto your forearms, or you can go into the full version and just hold it for a few breaths. I just want to close these blinds as the sun keeps coming and going. And I don't know how well you can see me, so I apologize for that. Just keep relaxing. And let's see if that makes a bit more difference. Then let's come back up onto our hands. Into that three-legged dog as we tuck the toe under and either staying on the right knee. You can bring the left heel up and flip it back, opening up those inner thighs again. And then bring that foot back down. One nice long last stretch here. Again, either staying here, you can go into child's pose if you prefer, or take a little flow with me, shifting into a high plank. Come into chaturanga if you want. Push those heels back so we have a nice strong core. Or you can bring your knees down first. So come in chaturanga, elbows go back towards the chest, tilting the chest down and then all the way up into an up dog even if you want to. Relax the shoulders and the glutes. And then back to down dog. Let's all meet in down dog. And then we'll come onto our knees and get ready to come into frog. So taking our knees so they're mat distance apart if you're using a mat, or just so the knees are wider than your hips. You can go along the length of your mat if it's quite, you're feeling it in your knees. Just roll up your mat from either side and make a bit more cushioning, or always have the cushions to help you. Then we're going to flex our feet, so we want our ankle directly underneath the knee, and then flexing the foot just like a frog. Keep the hips nice and high, and then come down onto your forearms. So again, we're going for a stretch through the inside of the legs, the inside of the hips. And take a few moments. Again, if this feels completely too much for you, just come into a wide-legged child's pose instead. Always try and keep those hips stacked and the weight coming in. Again, if the ankles feel too much, you can just relax them. Then the intensity of the stretch through the inside of the leg is lessened, is not so much. So try which option works for you and just be mindful of any injuries you may have. So if you're not feeling any sharp pains or any tingling, then you should be okay. Just be mindful of your own body. And then let's relax into child's pose. So bringing the toes back towards each other, adjust the knees and let yourselves go back. Extend a child's pose if that feels good for you, or you can just bring your hands relaxed either in front or to the side and just take a moment here. And then we'll get ready to move on. So coming up through our spine as we come up and sit on the mat. And a little bit of work through the outside of the hips this time. So Dharmakasana, cow face pose, just with the legs. So sitting on a cushion if you want, to give you a bit more height through the front of your body, just by tilting your pelvis slightly. We're going to take the right leg and cross it over the left. So this is version 1, and this is as good for you as version 2. It just depends on how open you are in the hips. Ladies are probably a lot more open than men tend to be, just the way we're made. And then we're going to see if we can bring the opposite foot underneath. Again, try it, see it. If it doesn't work, don't worry, just go back to the first version with that leg straight. If this version works for you, great. And then again, it's just checking if your hips, if you are just falling more to one side, This is where you'll definitely need that support and bring the cushion underneath so you stay nice and square, and then you're not putting too much pressure in the wrong places of your hip structure. So you keep the hips nice and square, the sit bones are rooted down, spine's nice and long. It's always rooting down through the bottom part of your body and lifting up through the top part. So you stay nice and long and light. Draw the navel slightly in to keep you supported. And then once we've settled in here, the shoulders are relaxed. Let's take a nice little twist. So we're going to go with our left hand, just bringing it to that right knee, and then take the right hand behind you. You want to keep the hips nice and square. We're just turning from the waist. We start turning, and we're not taking it all the way around. We don't want to over twist, as we're already in such a tight spot at the bottom. We're just going for a nice nourishing twist through the spine, through the base of the spine. So keep the back hand quite close to you, or at least if it's further away, you're already rooting down through your fingers, so it's kind of levering you up to stay up nice and tall. Just a couple of breaths. Settle in. And then we'll release that twist, and we're going to come into a little forward bend. So again, up to you, see how it feels, because that's quite intense on your hips. You may just be here with your hands either on your ankles or just close to you into a little forward bend. You may be able to bring your hands further forward and come a little bit deeper into the bend, depending on how your hips are. Again, have your sit bones still rooted down, so they're not lifting up. You're lengthening the spine. And we're keeping those hips, those sit bones rooted down, and then just relax the shoulders and the neck. I'm quite hypermobile through my hips, so for that reason I try not to go too deep into the pose, as I can be doing more damage than good. So I take a halfway measure when I come into some of these poses. Kind of just get my muscles to support me in the pose. And then let's start coming all the way up as we release the legs, straightening the bottom one. If you're ready to have that one straight, great. And then take the top one over. Give yourselves a little rub down. Release the tension as we get ready to shift sides. Again, just shift onto your tips of the sit bones. Bring that left knee leg across. Again, we're trying to get the knees lined up. So this is great. Good position. If you can bring the underneath through again and shift the weight onto your hips. Stay up nice and tall. I can feel with myself, I fall more into this side when I'm trying to keep square. So just a little bit of assistance underneath that hip, and then I can feel I'm nice and comfortable, and I don't have to make that extra effort to hold myself, because that's what the support is doing. And then relax again, nice tall spine, rooting down through the base, lifting up through the heart, through the head, all the way up, nice and relaxed and light through the body, drawing the navel slightly in to keep us supported, and let go of any tension, just breathing it out. Let's come in for that little twist on this side. So the right arm comes across to that left leg, and then take the left arm behind you and just settle into a nice little twist here. Hips are staying square and the twist just coming from the spine. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Keep that length through the spine. Keep feeling like someone's pulling you through the top of the head, and then just relax in the twist when you exhale. Just a couple more breaths. and then release. Bring the neck forward, release the twist, come into that forward fold again. So find where your place is, and sometimes sides are different and you may be able to go further one side than the other. So just take a try and then see where you need to go. And then relax the hips, the face, the shoulders. Especially if you do run a lot, you will carry quite a lot of tension and tightness through your hips. So doing a lot of these poses that we've done today just helps loosen your hips up again and just get them flowing. So always good to do a few of these if you find others on, which I'm sure you'll find millions on YouTube. Just try and do a few different variations if you're a runner. So coming back to seated, I'm going to shift my cushion out the way and then straighten that bottom leg. So take your time. And then the top leg, give them a nice little shake, a nice little rub out, and we'll come into butterfly this time, just seated, Baddha Konasana, heels as close to you as feels comfortable, and then just gently moving them up and down, release the tension. And then we're just going to come into an upside down table. So again, just slow down the movement, straighten out the legs. Bring the hands behind us with the fingertips pointing, root down through the feet. And we're going to lift the pelvis, open up the chest. We're going to try and straighten that spine. And then drop the pelvis, just hovering it. And let's do that one more time, lifting up, straightening that spine. Root down through the feet. And then gently relax, bring ourselves down. Just straighten out the legs into a forward bend. So again, shift those hips so you can feel the tailbone nicely pointing back as we lengthen through the spine, lengthen through those ribs, space between the hips, the waist and the ribs. Make sure the feet aren't dropping out, and then just relax forward. You can keep the feet flexed if you want a stronger forward bend. You can release the feet forward if you wanted to ease up on those hamstrings. You can even bend the knees and make it more comfortable. And just let yourselves relax into a nice relaxed forward bend. Feel the length through the base of your spine, all the way up to your neck. Creating space and then settling in as you exhale. Drawing that navel in just helps with a little bit more room through your back body, through the base of your spine. And then release. Let's start coming back up to seated. We're going to lie on our bellies. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. So coming to lie down, front of our body onto the floor, the mat. Elbows come just underneath our shoulders, and they are shoulder width apart, so you can always measure off fist to one elbow, elbow to elbow, and we know we've got that right space. And then place the hands down. I'm going to let the shoulder blades just draw down the back. Again, if this is too much for your back, place a cushion underneath your belly, that'll ease off, or you can come into a fallen angel with the elbow slightly ahead and the hands just resting on your shoulders, so you're in a much smaller version, only the top of your chest is opening up. And then here we're also going to add in the leg just to open up the hip again. That's what it's all about. So left knee starts bending. I want the left knee lined up with your hip. And then again, the ankle is just underneath that knee, and either flexing the foot, go for a more intense open, or you can just relax the foot down. So completely up to you. If it feels uncomfortable, you can always just come all the way down and just get the opening through that hip. So this pose is just two poses in one if it feels too much for your back. It's just good to strengthen up those back muscles. And just relax your Release the leg back down. Make a pillow with your hands. Release your back. Give it a little shake out if you need to. And we'll come and do the other side. So again, draw those elbows underneath you. And this time, I'll just switch myself around. Just take that right knee out. Ankle underneath the right knee, flexing the foot or keeping it straight. Whatever feels good for you. Root down through those arms. And then see, well, does this feel okay for my back or not? And then we'll walk through the different versions, either fallen angel or all the way down. And then just relax. Let the body soften and release. Any tension in the hips, just letting it all go. And then release that leg again. So bring the leg down, release the back, make a pillow with your hands. Again, either rocking out the back or maybe just windscreen wipering the legs. And then we're going to push back into child's pose. So bring yourselves back to center and a nice big push back. Again, stretching through that spine, lengthening through those arms. A nice big breath. Then release as you exhale, relax the arms and let the sit bones relax back down towards your heels, just lengthening through that spine. If you find your sit bones are quite high up, you can always place the cushion underneath your seat or make fists with your hands, one on top of the other, and rest your forehead there, and that will help you release the hips a little bit further back, keeping your head slightly lifted. Because you really want to get that stretch through the base of your spine, through the small of your back, that lumbar. And then starting to come back up to seated. So rolling up to seated through our spine as we come down onto our backs into an upside down pigeon this time. So knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. Then adjust your chin so you've got a nice comfortable neck. And we're going to take our right foot, right ankle, and place it just above that left knee. And then we'll grab that left leg with our hands and start bringing the left knee towards us. You want to kind of engage the right knee so it's not dropping in, it's staying slightly active and back. And then bring that leg in. So you're getting a nice stretch. It's a bit of resistance with that right leg, and get a nice deep stretch through the back of the right leg. You're trying to take it all the way, that stretch into that lower back, releasing any tension. Just for a few breaths. And then release the legs. So take that foot, left foot back down, still keeping the right one crossed. And we're going to go into eagle legs, a spinal twist with eagle legs. So this right knee, the right leg, just start crossing it over the left. So knees are stacked one above the other. You can stay here or take another twist, like when we do eagles. So it's a nice stretch through the hips. And then from here, we're just going to drop the knees over to our right side. No, let's drop it to the left so we can go for a bigger stretch through that hip. So drop the knees to the left this time. Take the arms out to the sides. Try and adjust your shoulders so they're nice and flat on the floor, as flat as you can get them. If that right shoulder is high up, just bring a cushion underneath it to relax it. Let the arms drop to the side. You can come cactus arms, as that tends to help release the shoulders, and maybe just release the twist on the leg if it feels a bit more comfortable with the twist of the spine. Final fingers to look to your right, if that feels okay with your neck. It's just holding it there. And relax. Just feel that nice stretch through the outside of that right leg. And then turning the head back to center. Stop bringing the hips back up again, the knees back up again. Square off the legs. Take the right leg over. Release your arms and then take the left one first into upside down pigeon, left ankle on that right leg, and then start bringing that right leg towards you, energizing that left knee away from you. So you have a little bit of resistance through that leg and get a nice stretch through the back of the left leg. Again, settle in. Release any tension. Make sure your glutes are not tensing up. Just let them go. Relax, relax, relax. And feel the bones, the joints relaxing, no tension in the pelvis. That nice ocean breeze coming in. From the inhaler, rather than I don't live by the ocean, I live by beautiful park. And then let's gently release. Bring that right foot down, and we're going to take that left leg, crossing it over, one twist or two, and then we're going to drop the knee because we want to get a stretch through the outside of the leg today, doing hips. We're going to drop the knee to the right, adjust your hips, adjust your shoulders. Let that left shoulder relax back down. Maybe cactus arms again. And then just gazing, taking the neck to look to your left side if that feels comfortable. Just hold it there. You can always release the twist. My toes seem to be getting in the way. And just let the knees feel nice and heavy as they drop to the sides. And a nice little spinal twist. Just gently relaxing as we get ready to finish off our practice. Let's bring the head back to center and then bring the knees back up. Bringing those hips back to the mat, unhooking the leg. Bring those knees up towards your chest. Let's take a nice little rock from side to side. Give the back a little massage. And then let's come back to center. Take one knee in each hand. We'll circle the knees apart and together. Give those hip flexors a little massage as well. And then in the opposite direction. Good. Let's bring the knees back to center one final time. Arms around the legs. A nice big breath in. And then a nice big squeeze as we hug those knees in towards our abdomen and release that breath. Release the spine and then release the legs. Getting ready to end our practice in Shavasana, corpse pose. So I'm going to leave you shortly. So if you want to stay for Shavasana a bit longer, maybe put on some music if you don't have it on already, just to let you go through Shavasana, or put on a timer, maybe 5 minutes or so if you have the time. Let's straighten out the legs. Relax them out, make space. Just let the feet drop out to the sides as the legs totally relax. Take the arms out to the sides and just have those palms facing up, just so the chest opens up and relaxes back down. Gently closing the eyes. Adjust that chin if you need to, or you can maybe even put a pillow either under your head or under your back or under your knees, just to be super comfortable, and then totally relax. Just feel any bits of tension just draining away from you as you gently relax. just start feeling heavy again, totally relaxed. Letting go of any thoughts, and just gently settling in for Shavasana. The legs are heavy and relaxed, feeling them drawing you closer to the ground. Let the pelvis relax, just gently drawing you down as your belly relaxes. With each exhale, just feel yourself gently relaxing that little bit more as you let your ribs relax and your chest relax. Shoulders are relaxed. Feel the arms just softening, relaxing, heavy as the fingers relax, just drawing you down, totally relaxing, letting your face relax. That's gentle space between your teeth as your jaw relaxes. And let your forehead relax, eyes relax. Just feel the skin of your body just totally relaxing, just feeling it gently melting down as you totally relax. And I will leave you here in Shavasana, just gently relaxing. I hope you've enjoyed the practice. Just releasing tension in the hips. And I'll end our practice with love. Love for ourselves and love for each other. And namaste. Thank you for joining. Love and peace.